step into the next level. Timeless game, every day of the week. Could tell you how to level up your spirit and be success driven and mind strong. Get your finances right, get your grind on. You know there's power in the stories. Tune in, this the valor of the true man. Success blueprint.
All right, so we're back to the success blueprint, this time from beautiful Medellín, Colombia. Jaime, the financial enabler. We have Mike, the man of valor, and I'm really pumped. Yeah, we're gonna throw this episode totally out of the traditional episodes that we've been doing, and a lot of it is gonna be what we've gotten from this trip. Obviously, so I was born in Bogota, raised in the United States and Ecuador. This is my first time coming back to Colombia as an adult. This is your first time ever. Ever. So pretty much it's our first time, right? So we're figuring this out. Colombia is great.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about success and what we've got here. So Mike, so far, what are your impressions of Medellin and how does it tie for you into success?
Yeah, this is a beautiful country. Like I definitely wasn't sure what it was gonna be like, right? Only thing I know about is the cartels and how dangerous it could be and all of those things. And I want to say to my surprise, there's been none of that. It's been amazing, right? We have eaten good food every turn. The people are awesome, and I'll tell you, it does make me reevaluate what I think success looks like. Right. And not good or bad or indifferent, doesn't really matter. But it allowed me to step back and be like, man, like we have it so good where we are in the US, right? And being able to see success in a different way, to have a path to get to the next level, even know what that looks like. As we meet people here and see folks here, I mean, I don't know if they know any different, right? Or if they even have an opportunity to get to what we call rich or wealthy or whatever that looks like. Is there a pathway for that? People are hustling, grinding. They'll do whatever, selling stuff on the corner, picking up people. They got to hustle for tourism, whatever it looks like, right? It's completely different. So that's been my experience. It's been awesome. And let me say this, man, it's a privilege to be here with you. You know what I'm saying? Just to come back, to be here with you as you came back as an adult for the first time, man, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys are here with us, and it's been really special. And I think that's part of the success, right? That what's the point of being able to travel and enjoy life if you can't share with friends and loved ones, right? It is so much more rewarding, right? So I think that is part of our success, that we're able to come to places and not have to put much. I mean, I'm sure you guys had to do a lot more planning. You guys have kids, but a lot less planning than most families do.
Absolutely.
Right? We did this on a whim in reality. And that's very special. And to the people here, and what Mike is getting at is that if you're in the best neighborhood in this town and you go to the worst neighborhood, the gap is so far, right? It is way further to them than, I mean, we can all think of bad neighborhoods, right? In Miami, it's like people going from Hialeah to South Beach, right? Like that gap for them is way more achievable. And I think that we've seen it over and over, which is whether it's guys like Henry Ford, business people, spiritual leaders. We can throw in athletes, right? Here, a pro athlete can make it to Europe, but it's not a lot. So they see that gap so much further, so much less likely to be attained. And I mean, I'm sure there's influencers here, for example, but I'm sure it's less of it. So to tie into that is that for me, it's been a perspective that how these people have to reframe their success, knowing that they cannot achieve being at one of the best neighborhoods. What is success in their day to day? Like they must be thinking, I need to enjoy this life. I need to have joy in the life that I have. And I think that is something that Americans, I don't think we do enough of.
Absolutely.
Enjoying the day to day.
Yeah.
Have you seen that here?
Absolutely. It's so different when people actually enjoy what they do versus I do this just because. Right. And I'm not really happy where I am. I don't want to take the next steps to get to the next, to do more. Here, it just seems like I'm a waiter. I enjoy it. I'm going to make the best of it. And obviously, we don't know. You're right. We don't have a clue. They may hate what they do. However, it doesn't come across in their service. Yeah. Right. In my opinion, in America, a lot of times, the way we serve other people, you can tell when somebody enjoys their job, because you're usually like, man, that waiter, that waitress was awesome. The way they approach me, their smile, like it stands out so much more there than it does here, because everybody seems to be genuinely happy with life. That just the fact that and they're alive and can do it again another day, or have an opportunity to make some money to make ends meet for their family or whatever the case may be. I think that we're such a culture and country of convenience, and right now, and if it ain't happening for me, then I'm gonna give up on it. And you see these people persevere through the mud, right? In other words,
For sure.
right?
That just kind of always made me think of in America, we quit because we wanted to be easier, but here they have the grind and grit, but they don't have as many of opportunities,
Sure.
right? And I think that is a big part. And people downplay the America being built on allowing a business owner, an entrepreneur, to go from nothing. Majority of the world does not create that opportunity, especially because it was free market rules, less corruption. I'm not saying America's not corrupt. There's less corruption, right?
Sure.
But here, you can have a great idea and it could get squashed so fast, and that's why it limits the opportunities. Granted, there's been plenty of people that climb their way up, but I think that's if Americans had more of this determination, but they had more of the opportunity, we might find equal level of success. But
Yeah,
right now,
absolutely.
there's a disparity there, right?
Yeah.
But America allows them to go to that.
Yeah, it makes me think about when we visited that factory
Yeah.
right here, and the factory was awesome. But for them to brag that they have less than 10% turnover, that you're celebrating people 30, 40, 50 years in one space, right? Working there constantly and all those things is so different from America, right? It's so rare that somebody stays one place 10 years, 5 years, because we're moving from job to job, making more money, finding different things that we want to do in life, whatever that looks like. But for here, like you can see the gratitude on them just for being able to provide and have that consistency and stability and learn all those things. It was amazing to see, right? And hear,
Yeah.
because it's not common, right? Outside of the military, you might 20 years in the military, maybe some people do 30, but you don't really see people stay at one spot for the amount of time.
And
in
that's
America.
obviously there's the golden shackle perspective, right?
Sure.
Maybe that is part of what this country does. Like they force them into not force them. The system creates. You have a great company, stick with it. This is your golden shackle. Don't go do anything crazy,
Mm.
right? Because this is. But the other question would be is if there's less opportunities, if you didn't have the golden shackle, so you were just an entrepreneur, or you just dove into doing it on your own, are there enough ways to make it out?
Yeah.
So they're taking this and in between, and I mean, I'm sure there's not a lot of American companies that have 10% turnover,
Right.
right? And especially the turnover is being due to pension, people actually retiring.
Retiring. Yeah.
So there's a value that it comes to deliver that, and that people seek it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it's really big into how you create success at that level. Like, for example, that transitioning to that is that a success in a company is when people really want to stay for the long haul,
It's
for
that
the ups
culture.
and downs.
It's that culture.
Like it's all culture, right? People didn't brag of like the product.
Absolutely.
They're like, but they're proud of the company. It's like it takes care of me, it takes care of the people, it takes care of those less fortunate than me. People have pride in that, the impact that it's having in a community. And I think that more American businesses, which I'm not downplaying it, there's plenty that do great work. Top of my head, I know I just popped in was HEB, right? They do
Mhm.
great things for Texas, right?
Sure.
And they're like totally committed to the state. That says a lot, right? That's why HEB will probably not struggle anytime soon. Have you guys ever seen HEB close? Why would they close?
Yeah,
Like,
why
people
would they?
love them? Like so, and that's a purely Texan thing. Do you see that also? Obviously, we got exposure to that company. Do you see a lot of culture here?
Yeah. I mean, a lot. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to expect for the food. We wasn't sure like what the music was going to be like. Like no expectations at all. Just
Yeah.
like, "Man, we're going. Like, let's go do this thing." So personally, I see these people love the culture and love what they're doing. You know what I mean? Which is super cool. I don't know. You tell me. I see culture, especially in that company. We saw a lot of culture where
Yeah.
people took pride in what they were doing. It was a lot less of complaining. Like I didn't see much of that. You don't see it.
No.
So I don't know.
I think for me, what I notice with culture, thinking about it, is like the pride that this nation has.
It's a lot of
Right? There's a lot of that pride, and I don't obviously that you see that all throughout the world in South America or Asia, but that allows for a successful country. And again, I know a little bit more of like the political situation that is fractioned on their own way, but it shows that if you can create a culture of fanatics in whatever it may be,
Mhm.
like we literally saw the Colombian jersey being sold everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like you don't see the American jersey being sold everywhere.
Right.
So the culture is much more regional than what it is national, right? Which is again is part of our size. But that culture drives a lot of passion and belief in a community, right? Like we saw that church. We went to a mall. That church, it was literally like pouring over. Like people are standing in the street. So that says a lot about a culture that somebody can get somebody to commit to be at church at those times outside, not in the heat, right? The weather's great, but
Yeah,
like that is success, national success, right? That is faith success, right? Because I'm sure I don't know much about how priests are measured, but I'm sure there's a point in size of congregation that
it
matters,
matters.
right? So I think that that's something that I've noticed with the culture, that the pride, I just thought of this. There's no American restaurants. There is, I'm sure there are, but like you don't walk in to say this is a traditional American restaurant. It's American gastropubs, but here you can tell this is a traditional blah 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 restaurant, right?
Yeah. Even in the, you want to look at it from a negative standpoint, when we went to the Pablo Escobar
Yeah.
Museum, just to see his love for his country
Yeah.
was amazing, right? Even though drug dealer, whatever, right? I'm not saying what he
Yeah.
did was great, doesn't really matter. However, his love for his country showed that the culture here, he was like, man, I don't really care. I care about the people. I mean, even in all his negative doings, created communities for people, built
Right.
homes, and made it way better for everybody around. And that's why they loved him, right? Even though he was, kingpin, criminal, right? International,
Yeah.
all the money in the world. But it tells me that when you can get people to rally around an idea and something greater than you, when it comes to success, you wouldn't have nothing but success, right?
Yeah.
It'll explode, right? And it makes us think about, how our business and our leaders are like, hey, culture is everything. Culture is everything. How do we create the right culture for people?
Yeah.
And I think that right there, when you get beyond a certain point, contributes to success.
Right. And you're talking about that. I like with culture is that if a drug kingpin can be, obviously he killed thousands of people. He did a lot of wrongs, without a doubt. But a group of people who love him, they can look past his faults for the sake of the benefit of the majority, right? Which that doesn't justify him, but I think that maybe that's something that in American individualism we lack. We're rarely willing to do something for the benefit of the majority if it doesn't benefit me, because we're so American. We're like, I'm going to build this, right? I can be an independent person.
Mm-hmm.
But independent and freedom has his limitation, right? Like there's what is it? I read something that if we really want freedom, we would move to an island, right? If we really want security, we would just go to prison,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have meals, you have a bed, and that is neither freedom nor stability,
Absolutely.
right? But that is at its core, that is the most free you'll be. You need
Yeah.
to interact with people and be able to be part of that. I think that American independence is in a way a flaw when we look at the success in a culture. How do you connect, right?
Yeah, it's almost like in America, it's so divided on everything that there's only really once every 4 years we come together.
Yeah.
Right now, Olympics. That's
Yeah.
the only time. Outside of that, we're so divided as people. Like,
I thought you were going to say elections, and also that's an interesting.
yeah, no, not elections for sure. We're definitely divided there.
Yeah,
too,
definitely. I was
right?
like, "Ooh, this-"
And it's the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Right. Something else that happens, every 4 years or however often. So I do think that when we're looking at success as a whole, as people, sometimes traveling outside or going somewhere different or getting a different perspective will help change that, and it'll help you view your life in a way that you can, okay, let me redefine what success looks like for me, where I'm going, where I want my family to go, the type of legacy I want to live, the contribution, all of that, right, matters even more when you can get outside of yourself, when you can think bigger. Because if, in my opinion, we kind of talked about this on the ride, is that American poor is a choice.
Yeah.
In other countries, bro, either you're that or you're not. Like, it's very rare that you're gonna, again, like we talked about here, that they're even gonna be able to see a way path to get to wealth, riches, $100,000 a year, whatever that number looks like. But in America, the truth is, we choose to be poor.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you got health issues, mental health stuff like that. Got it. I'm not saying it's everybody, but for the mass majority of people, we have a choice.
Whether we choice in poverty, right? And the poverty of mind, which I guess now that leads to the question is that how many people here are not living in poverty of mind because they found true joy in their hearts and they're living a potentially free life. They don't even know what else to draw on. They need the like pinnacle of their success. But for us, we're just stuck. We're choosing to stay stuck.
Choosing to stay
stuck. You cannot climb out of it, which in America clearly is the most climbed out of country.
Yeah, and I think that's why everybody else's goal is to get to America, because they see a chance just for
land
them to get there. Land of the free,
land of the
right?
free.
Opportunity where you can do, man, you actually have a chance to say, man, I can take my, I don't know, my fruit business to the next level in America,
Yeah.
right? We sell fruit all the time. Well, I got access to it. I got a way to get it in here, right? I got the right rules, and now I can be the distributor for HEB or whoever, or it doesn't matter, right? So there's ways that you can do that, and they see an opportunity and they're willing to go through the mud to get there.
Yeah.
Right. Unlike most Americans, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to crap on Americans. I'm just saying the opportunity that we have is beyond what everybody else has.
We're definitely not crapping in America. We're not moving out.
Yes, not at all.
Then, and I think that also leads to once you have so much money, right? With success is big, wealth has come with it. The sooner that we come up with contribution, that is what's I think separates it. A lot of these people cannot. I wonder how much in their mind do they feel they can contribute, or how much are they? Maybe they are contributing a lot to their community, right? Whether the feeding of the families, taking care of the kids in the group, which we've spoken about, right? In America, it's very hard to show up somewhere and be like, someone's going to take care of my kids.
Right.
Right. Like, we're the running joke of the world right now that we don't punish our pedophiles. Right. So it's like, I'm not saying that determines our quality as a nation, but I think it's a fair blemish. Right. And now here, I wonder how many people can actually move somewhere and be like, you take care of my kids. I have to go to work. I have to go drive a taxi. But in America, I don't know a single person that can do that outside of their immediate family. I'm sure in the military, but it's rare. People avoid it.
Yeah, very rare. Let me ask you this, right? So you asked me what changed in my perspective on success since you've been here, back home country, born here, right? Just these last few days of experiencing it and enjoying the culture, taking it all in. What's changed for you?
I don't think much has. I don't know if it's changed. It reinforces a feeling that I've had for a long time of desiring simpler, right? Like, majority of the people here live in apartments. Most of us cannot fathom living in an apartment, right? But I keep telling Tanya that I would love to be able to have so few things that I fit in an apartment. That's it. That's all I need. I have everything in this apartment. And that simplifies the life. Now, here, I feel that people are like, they live in the apartments. They go, the malls are packed and they're very community feeling. Like our malls feel very isolating. Like we're not together. People are not, you're like just there to shop, but here people are there to hang out, right? And I think that having a simpler life, that your life is enjoyable on a Sunday trip to the mall to get some ice cream, I perceive it as very rewarding. And I think it's our constant desire in America for more, which I think that's part of why you and I believe have shifted that our perspective in success has to include contribution. Like ideally, if when we're making $2 million a year, how do we still live with very little of that? And how much of that can go to somewhere else?
Yeah.
And I think that scaling, continue to contribute, give back, whether it's with industry, whether it's whatever, that is important. And the taxi cab driver was talking about in politics, the taxi cab driver, and then the guy who drove us on Friday, that what they want for government is that enterprises, companies have the freedom to impact the nation. What I think a lot of people have forgotten the value of that.
Yeah.
But here people need it. It's like government is not going to take care of me.
Absolutely. Man, that's good because I never think about how I can live on less, right?
Yeah.
Not that I desire a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But I don't think like, how can I fit all these things, everything I need, want into a small room? Like I don't think like that, right? So that's a great perspective.
It's like I can't wait to get rid of I would love to get rid of my entire wardrobe. Like have enough money because think about it, we don't get rid of the wardrobe because we know that we're losing money to get rid of it. It's a painful transition. But how cool would it be like if you got rid of your entire wardrobe and you had like perfect things?
Yeah, I noticed this is why this is a male segment because the women would not go for that.
No, they would not get it. But anymore. It's like, how do you feel that I have everything I need?
Sure, with these
simplify
3 pair of pants, 5 shirts.
I'm not maybe that's enough. Why do we need more? So I always wonder that. It's like, how much simpler can life get?
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. I don't know how Candace is gonna take that one, but we'll see, right? We'll see. After we go. Now, but it's really good because it makes me think. Sometimes we have 5 and 6 cars, and I got this and that. I'm a shoe guy, 100 pair of shoes when I can only wear one at a time, literally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I have 100 pairs.
Well, technically, you can wear 2 at a time, but you would look goofy.
Yeah, and honestly, I would be okay with that, right? Because my personality, I wouldn't even care. My wife wouldn't like it, but whatever, right? We'll do what we got to do. The truth, thinking about that, like, why do I need more than this? Why do I need more than that? And it always makes me think about one of our our mentors, Aja, right, who is, super wealthy,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen him in a different pair of shoes yet,
No.
right, which is super cool. I'm like, man, this guy here can buy what he wants and has the same pair of shoes every time I see him.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not a bad thing. They're not ugly shoes. Obviously they're well put together. They're good shoes. But how can I have less and
I
more?
just thought of that. It's kind of funny. It's like, what is our desire? Like, you know how can you think of foods that you totally love?
Absolutely.
What is it?
Steak.
Steak. Would you ever get away steak?
Why?
Okay, great. Would you, if it was affordable or you had enough money, would you eat steak every day?
I could do that now. I just don't.
You just don't. But I'm sure finances plays a little bit into that.
Let's say it did.
It did. I mean,
I'm not
good
eating
steak-
tomahawk.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
eating
That's what
a wagyu every day.
every day, right?
Sure.
So then what I'm thinking is like, what is it that we strive to have so many different ornaments for us, but we want our like dream food or a dream home, like the one thing, but we want all these ornaments. Like I just thought of them, they're
Yeah.
just ornaments.
Yeah. How can we live up? Now, if I'm gonna have 5 pair to your thing,
Yeah.
they're gonna be very nice.
Very nice and
Okay,
perfect.
there
They
you
will
go.
fit
Cool.
great.
I can
Like
handle that. I can handle
tippity
that.
top,
Yeah,
right?
fit me.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is how do you simplify?
Yeah, how do you simplify that? Yeah, that's good. Because one, having kids, it makes me like, all right, let me redefine what success looks like for them.
Hmm.
So they're not chasing the things; they're chasing the contribution, right? They're chasing how can I have significance? How do I make impact on somebody else's life? And it doesn't take clothes to do that. It doesn't take
No.
shoes. It doesn't take cars. All of that stuff. I'm not saying not to have that. If that's your desire,
Yeah.
do it, right? We're not telling you not to have that stuff. We're not saying that it's okay for you to want that stuff. Like you could do that.
Yeah.
Go after it. However, do you have to have it in every area? And then if you hear every super successful person I hear says, after you had all that stuff, you don't want it no more. Like it's
don't
not
want it
even
no
the thing. We're really chasing the feeling behind it and not the thing itself.
Not the things.
I love it that our other mentor says if you can give him another $1 billion today, it wouldn't change his lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I can't say that.
I can't say that.
Right. At all. I cannot say I
$1 billion
want to be able to say that.
drastic my life.
Yeah, drastically. I'm a whole different guy, right?
Yeah.
Not in my character's not going to change, but what we're going to be doing changes
Yeah.
drastically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The level of impact, the level of giving, all of that goes like through the roof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in that way, and obviously we're going to live a lot better.
Yeah.
So we're not going to take a commercial flight to Colombia. We're taking a
Yeah.
private jet,
You gotta
right?
improve
So we
our
can
life. Yeah.
so we can bring back all the coffee and chocolate that we want. Anyway, or whatever, right? All that stuff.
And I think of like impact here, right? That's something that I wanted to consider my impact into this country is that how do you teach the impact to your kids? What is good impact? Right? Because good impact also matters, right? Clearly, like Pablo Escobar building a neighborhood, incredible impact.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't imagine going from literally trash to a building, right? And I think that how do we do that and give our kids that option and it has to be constant. Because here, like I saw for some reason I'm stuck with this picture. There was a kid, we walked by him and he was just playing with a soccer ball inside of this like ice cream place or whatever. And I could tell that maybe mom and dad worked there or somebody was around. And I wonder how often that kid hears you could actually move, or like you're doing the good work that people care about.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. Maybe they don't hear enough of that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have people all the time that say they didn't hear, they didn't get belief poured into them,
Yeah.
right? I mean, even Candace said it. She's like, man, nobody, even if they did believe, they didn't tell me with their lips. So I didn't know what I could be. I could have been anything, right? I'm realizing it later. So I think a lot of times for us, for especially Candace and I, we got to make sure our kids know that they can be anything. They can do the thing, right? And it's not about the material things and all of that stuff. It's about how much can I give back? How can I make an impact in the world in a great way? Whether that's just your community, your city, the nation, whatever, your family. And sometimes I think like I want to make sure that I'm not trying to impact the world and my family struggles.
Right.
And I forget about the main thing.
Elon Musk.
I'm not saying yes,
Awesome.
right?
He
And
does
go
have
from there.
11 kids.
Sure.
Not would have been my choice.
No. I mean, and not even the same woman.
Yeah.
Right. Different if it's the same woman and he got a family like that, but whatever. And I'm not saying you can't have more kids with several women. Obviously, we go through stuff.
Yeah.
It's life. We're just saying, thinking about the contribution that you're making and impact that your kids are going to have. And I think the way we teach it is by modeling it. And that's kind of what we're talking about today is having that picture of success that you can actually get there, which is lacking in this this country, but we have it so much in the United States where we can actually say, well, here's a picture of what I want to be like, and there's a way I can actually go do it.
For sure.
Right. I may not do it to the level that they did, but I can do it on my level and what I'm the impact and passion and the place that I'm supposed to call. I'm called to do it.
So I think that with this, to kind of bring it to wrap it up, a few things on success, right? And as I was formulating this thought of like the contribution, all that, how do for people listening is that one, what dream can you feed yourself that would increase your success? How can you enjoy where you are while you're achieving that? And then how do you find the right contribution? Because we're talking almost, somebody could say that we're talking about opposing views. Be thankful for where you are, but go get more. And I was like, you can do both.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are depressed, then you're not thankful for where you are, right? And if you are, and again, if you're depressed when you're successful, same thing. You're not thankful for where you are. So how can you be thankful for where you are, but seek more? And if you doubt yourself that you're going to cross into being a selfish prick or become a bad person, your success needs to be defined by your contribution, the external.
Yeah, which is really good.
Things to think of there for the audience. You know, what's your success? How much more you can get it? How do you contribute more? And how you stay and become more grateful for the life that you got.
And that
closing words.
That contentment piece is huge, right? You can be content and still press for more, right? So that's really good.
So that's it,
man. So we'll say that, man. If you are here, like, subscribe, share, all of the things. This has been a Success Blueprint. This is a special episode, right, from Medellín, Colombia. And I'm practicing my Spanish. One of these times, we're going to do a whole episode in Spanish. Mark my words, right? It's going to be awesome. And y'all going to have to use subtitles. But yeah, like, subscribe, and we're happy for it. So
cool. Let's go.